Hello and welcome to Nugget of Inspiration number 4 for a healthier, happier 2022. Now today we're talking about sleep, which actually is super ironic because I've had next to no sleep last night because it's my first night in a campground and on an air mattress it's never great, is it? And the first night where you sleep anywhere new, also your brain is kind of figuring out where am I, what am I doing, and most people don't sleep that well. But what can you do to actually improve the way you sleep, and why does it matter? So one of the things when it comes to regulating or being able to manage the amount of food that you're wanting to eat is that sleep plays a huge role in that, okay? And that is because sleep helps regulate the hormones that control your appetite. So the signal for you to eat something, so the sensation of hunger, that feeling I need to eat, and the feeling of fullness, hey, you need to stop this. A lot of that is impacted by sleep. If you are tired, if you have not slept enough, you will struggle more with regulating your appetite, which means that you're much more likely to overeat. Also, those cravings for those carbohydrate-rich foods. Can you tell I've got no sleep? You can't talk when you don't sleep as well. But those cravings for those carbohydrate-rich foods, I'm not going to say it again, increase, okay? So it's just a vicious cycle. And I think often people, when they come to trying to change the way they eat, they start in the wrong place. And we need to get these foundations of our health and well-being sorted to make it easier to make the right choices. The other thing about sleep is that it's really important for converting short-term memory into long-term memory. It actually helps you be more creative and problem solve. So if you're a person that is too busy or got too much work on, and it's hard to prioritize sleep, remember, actually sleep makes you better at your job. And this is something that I have absolutely had to learn the hard way with my brain, the virus that I had last year, because essentially I had to sleep, and sleep was part of my recovery. And I now see the value of sleeping in terms of actually being able to make your brain work better. So do not underestimate the importance of sleep on being good at what you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so there's lots of other benefits. It's important for your immune system. Obviously, it impacts your mood. You're much more likely to be motivated to exercise if you are getting enough sleep. So how much sleep? How do you get enough sleep? Don't go camping. But other than don't go camping, as an adult, we need around 7 to 9 hours. And that is actually asleep. That is not including what's called sleep opportunity, which is the time in bed around that. And that is a crazy amount of hours for a lot of you, I imagine, if you're like, I don't get nowhere near that much sleep. So it's just starting where you are and thinking about where you can get to. What is a realistic goal? How can you get a little bit more sleep? And again, it's not just the hours in bed, it's also the quality of your sleep. You've got to be, that deep, restful, restorative sleep is really important. So it's kind of thinking both quality and quantity in that realm. So what are my tips, my action points for you to get better sleep? Number 1, expose your eyes to natural light early in the day, okay? Ideally within the first hour of waking, so pretty easy when you're camping, that is a good thing. And you will basically tell your brain it is daytime, and because your brain then knows it's daytime, it will signal the release of a hormone to tell you that it's nighttime and you need to go to sleep around 12 to 14 hours after that, okay? So that's a really important thing. One of the main issues that I see with people is that they spend too much time inside and they miss those natural triggers, or the triggers of natural light, and it can basically dysregulate your circadian rhythm. If your circadian rhythm's not working properly, everything's out of whack, okay? Your body likes to work on a cycle, likes to work on a rhythm. So early morning light's really important. Later in the day, it's reducing your exposure to light, so dimming the lights at night. If I'm reading, I often have candlelight or very, very dim light in the evening. And obviously, you know the advice about devices, that's not new in that space. So that's one thing. The second thing is to try and reduce your core body temperature, or you basically need to reduce your core body temperature to sleep. It's part of that process. So having actually weirdly a warm shower before you go to bed, and then you get out and it kind of cools you down, that's a tip. If you've got a swimming pool at home, or you're near the sea, then it's a good idea. You can go for a dip in there and that'll kind of cool you down as you come out. So that can be a good way to reduce your body temperature. And just make sure that your room's not too warm. I know that's hard at this time of year, but that's an important thing to consider as well. Caffeine. I'll do a whole thing on caffeine, but essentially you need to be limiting it to earlier on in the day. Too much caffeine, it's got a very long half-life. It stays in your system for a super long time, and it can compromise your sleep at night. So definitely I'll do a whole video on caffeine, and any questions that you've got on that, let me know. But we need to basically wind down our brains as well. So the last tip is, if you've got a really busy mind at night, then in the kitchen or in the lounge or in another room in your house, write down the things that are on your mind. Don't take them into the bedroom with you, because that's just going to ruminate and just go crazy in your mind, and it's not good. So if you've got any stuff going on in your head, try and write it down before you go to bed. If you've got one of my planners, you can write it in the notes section, or write it anywhere in there, and just jot your thoughts down at that time, and that will help you kind of just unwind in that kind of particular way. So hopefully those are some helpful tips. I know that it is that sleep is one of the biggest things that we struggle with, and it is impossible to do this justice in 6 minutes, but basically just prioritize sleep if you are trying to manage the way that you eat. Don't just think it's about having more willpower. And actually, if you want more willpower anyway, you need sleep, because that's what makes the grey matter, that part of your brain that actually is able to regulate your behaviour, work better. So even for a little bit more willpower, you do need sleep as well. So make sleep a priority, look after yourself, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.